Hey guys, welcome to part D, part 2. As always, thank you for pushing yourselves. The secret word here is percent change because that's mainly what this page goes over. Take a look at the answers and see if there's anything you got wrong and anything you need a review. Haven't done commission in a while. Haven't done interest in a while. These are a little bit trickier, but same idea. And I'm assuming at least one of those tripped you up. So stick around and make sure you watch the parts that you need help with. Alright, so percent increase and decrease problems are problems where we actually don't know the percent. We know the starting amount and the ending amount, but we don't know what percent up or down by. So let's read this problem and figure it out. Last quarter, 20 students were super scholars. This quarter, 24 students are super scholars. What is the percent increase in the number of super scholars from last year to this year? The trickiest part about these problems is figuring out what's 100%. And there's two hints here. It says, what's the percent increase from last year to this year? That means whatever it was last year is what we started with. And I always start off with dollars. I'm so used to doing it that way, but we have students. So 20 students is considered the original amount, or 100%. And then it goes up to 24 students. So there's two ways to figure out what the percent increase is. One is to try and get to 24. The other way would be to first figure out how much it changes by, which if you subtract 24 by 20, you see that it changed by 4 students. And then you just need to figure out what percent 4 students is of the original amount. So let's solve it both ways. I can't go straight from 20 to 24, so I'm going to break this down. If I divide it by 5, that would give me 4. And I'm doing that because I know that 4 will then go into 24. So let's do 100% divided by 5 as well, which would give 20%. And now I know that 4 times 6 would equal 24. So let's do the same thing down here, which would be 120%. The answer isn't 120%. The answer is how much it changed. It started at 100%. It went up by 20% to get equal to 120%. So the answer is a 20% increase. You can see that even better with this second strategy, since we know there's 4 more students who were super scholars. If we just divide by 5 again, we would get 20, and that's our answer, because we know it changed by 4 students, which is the same as going up by 20%. So 2 ways to do that. Alright, so same type of problem. We have how many times Emily yells. Let's do Y for yells in a percent. And it wants to know the percent increase from yesterday to today. So here's yesterday, here's today, and we're going from yesterday to today, and it's going up. So let's put the number of times she yelled yesterday, and we'll call that 100%. And then, again, we have 2 strategies. We could try to get to 30, or we could just figure out that she yelled 6 more times, and then we can look for 6, figure out what that percent is. Alright, so starting it off at the top, I can't go from 24 into 30, but if I divide it by 4, that would give me 6, and I'm doing that because I know 6 will go into 30. And then 100 divided by 4 is 25. Notice that if I do that same thing down here, I'm already done with the problem. Because if I divide 100 by 4, that would give us 25%. And she yelled 6 more times, that's the same as 25%. So that's a 25% increase. If you solved it up here, you would end up with 125, and it would still be the same answer because it started at 100% and then went up 25 more. Alright, again, same type of problem, but larger numbers. So Edwin made 460 shoutouts last year, because he's a beast, and this year he's only made 322. What's the percent decrease in shoutouts made from last year to this year? So we have shoutouts and percent, and we want to know from last year to this year, and it's supposed to be going down. So that means we're starting from the higher number and going down to 322. So that's going to be our 100%. For this one, if I put 322 over here, unless I'm dividing on a calculator, I'm going to have a hard time finding it. So I'm actually going to use the other strategy. I'm going to subtract. And when I subtract that, I get 138. Alright, so I'm trying to get to 138. Figure out what that percent is. Well, we could start by dividing by 10, which would give us 46 and 10. And I'm going to build up by tens and see if I can get to 138. So if I add another 10%, that would be 20%. And 10% is the same as 46 shoutouts. So 46 plus 46 is 92. Let's see what happens if I add another 10. Let's do plus 10% again, which would be 30%. And 10% is the same as 46 more shoutouts. And if I add that together, I get 138, which is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for 138 more shoutouts. So, 138 fewer shoutouts. So it looks like the answer is a 30% decrease. Alright, a review of commission. Michelle works at the Gap and earns a salary of $1,500 a month. So remember what the salary is? That's the amount that she gets no matter what. That's like her paycheck. But then, if she's really good at selling things, she gets to keep 2% of what she sold. And this month, she sold $25,000 worth of clothing. So that means her commission is going to be 2% of this. So let's figure out how much that is. So all of the sales, that's $25,000. That's 100%. The store keeps almost all of it. If I divide by 100, that would be $250. And then if I double that, I would get $500. So it looks like 2% of everything she helped sell would be $500. And now, what will be her total pay this month? Well, she gets that salary no matter what, and now she also gets this commission. So she's taken home $2,000 this month. Alright, and number 5 reviews interest. Graylin decides to invest money in the bank. His initial investment was for $500. So Graylin takes that and he puts it into a bank. The bank is happy to have his money, so they give him 4% interest every year. So he's making money just by letting the bank hold on to his. And then he waits 3 years. How much is his total investment after the 3 years? Alright, so Graylin puts $500 in the bank, so that's his whole investment, so that's 100%. And then he's going to get 4% every year. So let's use the unit rate strategy. 1% is $5. So that means that 4%, let's see, times 4, that would be $20. Cool. So he's going to get $20 per year. And that's called his interest. The problem also says he keeps it in the bank for 3 years, so let's just multiply that by 3. And so if the problem said how much interest does he get, the answer would be $60 after 3 years. But since it says how much is his total investment, well, the $500 is still his. He just also gets an extra $60 of interest, and that's why the answer is 560. Number 6 is an example of a percent increase problem that's not dealing with money or number of students or anything. It's dealing with area. So the problem says a rectangle has a length of 8 feet and a width of 4 feet. So that looks something like this. Sort of. And then the length and the width of the rectangle are increased by 25%. What will be the increase in area in square feet? So since the problem's asking about area, let's find the area of the starting rectangle. So that's just going to be length times width, 4 times 8, which is 32. And that's 32 square feet. So now we have to do this percent increase part. The length and the width are increasing by 25%. So let's start off with just one of the values. Let's start off with 4, which we'll call the length. And we'll say that 8 is the width. Alright, so our length in feet, we're going to say that that's 100%, because that's what we're starting from. But then it's going to go up by 25%. 25%, well, that's just 100% divided by 4, or by quarters. And so let's do the same thing to the top to get 1 foot. So then, if it increased by 25%, it basically means it went up to 125%, and that's just 4 plus 1, which is 5. So our new rectangle has a length of 5 feet. Now you can find the width. So we have feet and percent. The width is 8 feet, and that's 100%. And we know that it's going to increase by 25%. So again, let's divide by 4 and 4, which would be 2. And then we can combine that together to get 125%, which is 8 plus 2 is 10. Alright, so we're almost done. If I want to find the area of this new rectangle, it's 5 times 10, which is 50 square feet. But the answer isn't 50 because read the question carefully. It says what will be the increase in the area in square feet. So we have our starting area, which was 32. We have our new area, which was 50. So to find the increase, we can just subtract, and you should get 18 square feet. Alright, final percent increase problem, this time with unit rates. The price of gas is $1.20 per gallon. This week, gas stations increased the price of gas by 5%. How much would 6 3/4 gallons of gas cost this week? Alright, so first, let's figure out what the new price is per gallon when we increase it by 5%. So we have $1.20. That's the original price of gas. And then it's increasing by 5%. So let's figure out what 5% would be. If I divide 100 by 20, that's 5. And if I divide $1.20 by 20, you could totally use a calculator here. You should get 6 cents. So then, if the price of gas used to be $1.20, just add 6 cents to that, and you have the new price, which is $1.26. Alright, now, how much would 6 3/4 gallons of gas cost this week? It's definitely tricky. But we can also set up a ratio table to do it. So we have dollars in gallons, and we have $1.26, that's the new cost of gas, and that's per 1 gallon. And then we want to find the cost for 6 3/4 gallons. So that I can use my calculator, let's say that 3 6/4 is equal to 6.75, because 3/4 and 75/100 are equivalent. So let's try and get to that. And let's multiply by 6.75. And when we do that, let's see what happens. We have $1.26 times 6.75, and that gives us 8.505. And notice the problem doesn't say anything about rounding, so we actually have to say that this is the new cost of gas. So it's about $8.50 or 51 cents for this 6 3/4 gallons. Don't be too intimidated if the last two problems were super tricky. I'm just trying to show you the level of difficulty that you might see on the state test so that you're ready for whatever they throw at you. Guys, keep it up. I'll see you later.